In a survival situation, you want gear and techniques that pull double duty. Today, we're building a trap trigger system that works for both snaring animals and fishing with nothing more than a few sticks, a sharp edge, and some cordage. This setup is simple to make. Minimal carving required, if any at all, depending upon how you go about it. It's lightweight and portable, meaning it disassembles for cord recovery, and it's versatile. You can switch from fishing to snaring in just seconds. Now the materials needed are very minimal. You're going to need a spring pole, a live flexible sapling or branch strong enough to set a hook or lift small game off the ground. That being said, you won't need as strong of a spring pole for fishing, just enough to set the hook, not rip the fish out of the water and up onto the bank. So use your discretion based on what you're trying to catch. Next, you're going to need a ground stake, something a little bit longer than 12 inches, hardwood preferred, solid enough to drive deep into the ground. Then we'll need a lever stick, straight stick with flat sides carved for the notch connection. Then a trigger stick. A simple Y stick can be picked up, broke off, or even carved quickly. You're going to need some cordage. Bank line is your best bet, but I'm going to use paracord so it's easier for you to see. You'll need a knife or a carving tool, and you need a baton for pounding in your stakes. Now for your ground stake, you want something a little longer than a foot, and you want to carve a 7-notch right in the top of that. But if you can't carve, you can cheat. Use a small Y branch with a natural Y, and the Y acts as your notch. Next, we need to make our lever stick. The lever stick is the middle piece that connects the spring pole and the line to the ground stake. Carve flat spots on both sides. The top flat slits slightly longer. That sits in the notch. That bottom flat sits on your trigger stick. Now next we have the trigger stick itself. A simple Y works perfectly. The trigger stick's job is to hold the bait or the fishing line and trip the lever. Now there's two configurations. This is fishing mode. Leave it a little bit longer and carve a shallow notch at the end to attach your fishing line to. And snare mode, we would cut this shorter and place bait on that fork for the animal to pop the trigger. Now for our spring pole, we want a nice green sapling with good whip and flexibility. For fishing, you need just enough tension to set the hook. For snares, the pole needs to be strong enough to lift the animal up off the ground. Now what we need to do is tie our cordage to the tip of the spring pole, but we won't cut it yet. We'll leave it on the roll until final assembly for easy adjustment. I use a snare knot on the spring pole for easy removal and cordage recovery. It looks like this. We'll use our finger as a guide. We need 2 wraps, and then we'll pull our line back up through the holes and cinch it down. That's our snare knot. To attach it to our pole, slip it in our little notch we made at the top, and cinch it down. Place your stake directly under your cordage so that it's at 90 degrees to the spring pole. This gives maximum tension transfer, and pound it in. Now, to attach our lever stick to our line, we're going to do a simple marlin hitch. Make a loop, pull some line through, stick your trigger stick in, and cinch it down. Just like that. To set this trap, what we're going to do is pull down our spring pole on our little lever stick, get that flat spot right there in our notch, and set our trigger stick underneath the other flat spot. Now we're set, good to go. Now for fishing, what we're going to do is leave a little bit of a line here, make another clove hitch, and just sit that on there nice and easy. Doesn't have to be really tight, because all it's going to take is a little bit of pull, and you set your hook. Now replace your fishing line with a snare loop, lay it right over top the trigger. Right there is where your bait would go, and you got your animal. Now all you need to do is size your loop for your target species, large enough for the head and shoulders to pass through, but small enough to tighten up quickly. Now all you need to do is build this up around so you make sure you channel your animal right into your trap. Now one of the best features of this trigger system is that all the cordage can be recovered. By using marlin spike hitches and slip knots instead of permanent knots, you can take the trap apart in seconds. Cordage remains undamaged for future use. Now be sure to practice this in the field so you can build and set this trigger fast under real conditions. The key to success is the tuning sensitivity. The trigger should release easily, but not from wind or vibration. Now the key to your survival using these traps is to have at least 10 of these set in a real world survival situation. Now let me know what you thought of this video, and make sure you subscribe for more. AP out.